Good evening everybody, it's me Ernie again, or Blue Ernie as everyone knows me. I'm here to do a reaction video to a guy on YouTube called 8 The Chosen One. He's just put on a little video of the 5 movies that don't get much talking about, or people don't discuss them or show clips or anything about films. Now, I thought I'd do a reaction video and pick 5 of my favourite British films, as in documentaries type films, all that sort of thing. They're not all horror films. I do like my horror and my scary stuff and my blood and guts, but I also like thrillers. I like lots of things. So I thought I'd give you a quick 5 films that are from England, Britain, that don't get talked about much. I'm going to start off with number 1. It's from the well, they're not in any order, but number 1. It's a film from the mid-90s based on a true story written by an ex-heroin addict called Irwin Welsh, who decided to write a book about, like a diary about his life as a drug addict. And it was called Trainspotting. It's been made into a play and screenplays, and then Mr. Danny Boyle from Bury, Manchester decided to make it into a feature film with the help of Film 4. And this is what Trainspotting is. It came out in the mid-90s. Big star cast. Ewan McGregor's in it, as is Robert Carlyle and Johnny Miller. Ewan McGregor is basically playing the Irving Welsh character, the original drug addict, and Robert Carlyle is his best mate Begbie. Now Begbie is a psychotic, crazy, head the ball alcoholic. He's not a drug addict, but he's an alcoholic. And most of it's set in Edinburgh around the time of the Edinburgh Fringe and the Edinburgh Festival, but it's all basically about a group of drug addicts who have to survive. It's funny, but it's not meant to be funny. There's a lot of funny parts in it. It's pretty gross, it's pretty gory. It shows a lot of drug use. It's got nightmare sequences. It's got gross out scenes. It's not for the faint-hearted. If you're from America and you're going to watch it, you're going to possibly have to put subtitles on, because a lot of them have got very broad Scottish accents. And because I live in England and we have a lot of Scottish people, we're only up the road from Scotland as well, I understand the language, along with the Irish language and the Welsh language. It's pretty, once you get to hear them speak in their dialect, it's pretty easy to understand. But if you're in America, you probably might need subtitles. But Trainspotting is a very, very, very good film. The soundtrack's amazing. The actual soundtrack is a fantastic soundtrack. It's upbeat. It's also downbeat, as the film is, because it does have a lot of bad things going in it. That's the inside cover. I picked this up for about £5 in a shop. It's been remastered by Danny Boyle and his team, and it is an absolutely bona fide great little movie. So that's Trainspotting. I'll just put that to one side. My next film is another British gritty thriller. It came out about 3 or 4 years ago. Not a lot of people talk about it. It's basically like an English version of Death Wish, which was Charles Bronson's main film that made him a massive, massive star. We're talking about Michael Caine in Harry Brown. It's set in like the East End of London. A guy called Master P was his rap name. He plays this young lad thug with his gang who basically terrorise all these people selling drugs and everything and violence. And Harry Brown and his old friend from the army always meet up in the same pub every day for having a beer and having a bit of a laugh and that. And the basic story is this gang kill his best friend in the beginning. And because he used to be, without giving too much away, Harry Brown ends up becoming this vigilante without even knowing he's a vigilante. The police are after this so-called this person who's killing all these gangs and stuff and all these young teenagers. But the young teenagers or the young adults in the film are dealing drugs and everything. They're all low-life scum, most of them. They're absolute horrible people. And as I said, Harry Brown, another good film, fantastic movie, not for the faint-hearted. It's got a lot of drug use, a lot of violence, and that's another one that's worth watching. Especially if you're from America and you've never seen it, it's worth picking up. It needs to be talked about more. Harry Brown is a very good film. I enjoyed it. And Michael Caine was just brilliant in it. That's Harry Brown, number 2. Number 3 is a double bill. Again, another Danny Boyle film from England. Danny Boyle's from my area, Manchester. He made the first film. The second film was done by another one. I know they're going to be doing a third one, but I don't know when it's coming out. But the third one's going to be called 28 Months Later. This, of course, we're talking 28 days later and 28 weeks later, both set in England. It's basically about a virus, bit like a zombie outbreak. And this one gentleman wakes up in hospital and basically everyone's gone. A bit like The Walking Dead at the beginning, where Rick wakes up in hospital and the whole world's turned into this zombie infestation. He's similar to this guy walking through London, and he meets and these people have got this virus called the Rage inside them, and it's pretty grim. It's a great film, a great zombie movie, if you want to call them zombies. But it doesn't get a lot of talking about, but this made Danny Boyle, after Trainspotting, massive in Hollywood, and he went on to do Slumdog Millionaire and a lot of other stuff, 127 Hours Later and all them type of films. So 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later, both good films, well worth checking out. Mine's still shrink wrapped because I've already seen them, but I only paid £5 for that. It's a good deal. My fourth film of choice is made a couple of years back, 2 or 3 years ago. Now, I've heard it's very hard to find in America. It was a directorial debut by a man called James Watkins. Now, in my job before I got made redundant a couple of years back, I was a neighbourhood warden for this housing association, and I had to deal with all types of low-level antisocial behaviour, from teenagers, from bad families, noisy neighbours, feral kids with dogs, drinking on the streets, all this sort of thing. We had to deal with all sorts of bad things. A lot of good things as well, but mainly bad. This film tackles that issue. It stars Michael Fassbender and Kelly Riley, and it is Eden Lake on Blu-ray. Now, apparently it's very hard to get hold of in America. I don't know if that's right, but it's a great... When I first seen this film, I was absolutely angry and upset. And I was actually shocked as well because of what happened in it. It's basically about a young couple who every year have been going to this lake called Eden Lake. It's a beauty spot, forest, trees, nice lake, everything. And they're going for one last trip because apparently the lake's going to be filled in and they're going to build a housing estate on top of it. So Michael Fassbender and his girlfriend go for the weekend, expecting a bit of quiet, and just enjoy the time. The weather's gorgeous in the middle of summer. When they get there, they find out that there's a group of young feral teenagers or young adults there, and they've got this big boom box, and they've got they're all drinking at the edge of this lake. They've got a big dog, and they're basically being arseholes, to put a better word for it. And Michael Fassbender's character goes up to him and says, basically, can you turn your sounds down and be quiet? And they start taking a piss and everything out of him, and it escalates into a game of cat and mouse and survival, because these feral kids turn on them nastily. I'm talking really fucking nasty, not pleasant at all. Not just them, other people in the forest, what happens to them is downright shocking. I was like, and I've watched some stuff and I can watch gore and horror and blood and guts. But this was, wow, fucking hell. I was like, gobsmacked. I won't say who it is and when it happens, but one person, I won't say whether they're male or female, one person gets tackled by the gang and they throw a tyre over this person so their arms are trapped, throw petrol over them and set fire to them while they're still alive, and you see it in front of you. It's fucking scary because it can happen anywhere. These kids are just out of control. There's no one to stop them. And I'll be totally honest with you, before you get are thinking, oh wow, great, let's get revenge and everything. I'm not saying who, why, when and where, but it's not a pleasant film. It doesn't have a happy ending. Don't expect all, no, nicey nicey and all that. It's a nasty, nasty little film. But it's a very, very good British film. Eden Lake, well worth it. 8, The Chosen One, likes this as well, but I don't think he's got it on Blu-ray yet. Alright, lastly but not leastly is a 3-disc DVD set. Now, another quick little story, I'll try and get it in if I can, is I lived through the video nasty era of the 1980s. I was a young adult, about 17, 18, going through up to my early 20s. And lots and lots of films in England were banned, and there was uproar in the House of Commons. People were trying to get all these films, saying they were corrupting people. Originally, there was 39 banned, and 72 of them were on the list, but only 39 managed to get through court and be banned. And a few years later, a company has brought out this 3-disc set called The Definitive Guide to the Video Nasty. It's 3 discs. The first disc is a documentary all about the video nasty craze in England, and there's people being interviewed from film magazines like Alan Jones and all people who did horror film magazines from Fangoria and all these sort of people. There was MPs, a lady called Mary Whitehouse, who was this Bible bashing brigade woman who wanted to ban everything. I was a victim of the video nasty era. I got raided by the police. I had all my films took off me because I was told I wasn't in the right frame of mind to make my own decisions on what I can and cannot see. It was down to the government to tell me I can watch this or I can't watch that. They're going to cut this out, they're going to chop that out. They even tried to ban The Evil Dead. And it got to the point where Sam Raimi had to fly over from LA, appear in court in Leeds, and try to defend his film. Luckily, The Evil Dead never got banned. It went past, but it was on the 72 list, but it never got banned. And the other films are there, Clockwork Orange. That wasn't banned. It's never been banned in England. Stanley Kubrick just took it off the shelf and said, until the day I die, it's never going to be released in England because of copycat violence. Most of the banned stuff like Island of Death and Faces of Death and Zombie Flesh Eaters and Dawn of the Dead. There's a plethora of My Spit on Your Grave. All these films are all thrown into the mix. And like SS Experiment Camp and Gestapo Last Orgy. You know, God, there was even Night of the Demon, not the black and white one. All these films are all on this. The documentary is amazing. It's a really, really good documentary. They've done a sequel recently of this, a documentary. But this too shows you all the all 72 trailers for every single film that was on the list to be banned, uncut, all the trailers. Disc 3 gives all the trailers again, but they all have an introduction by various famous filmmakers from the 70s, 80s and 90s in England, and people who contributed to the whole video nasty era. It's 13.5 hours long, the DVD. It's a great, great collection. If you can find it on Amazon or anywhere in the UK, I would urge you to pick it up and let you people across the sea at America see what we had to go through. We were persecuted, we were hounded, we were hunted by the police, we were arrested. I was arrested, I was interviewed and everything. The police destroyed most of my film collection. They gave me a box of Betamax tapes and a load of television stuff that I recorded off the telly. All my collection, including I had a Warner Brothers set, complete full set of Warner Brothers original videos. And these weren't horror films, but because they didn't have 18 certificates, anything pre-1984 wasn't certified by the BBFC, the British Board of Film Classifications. So everything was destroyed. I lost all my Clint Eastwood stuff and everything. So I was a victim of the video nasty era, and I urge anybody, 8 The Chosen One, Absolute Sublime, everybody, Cool Doodah, get hold of this, watch it. It's an education, and it will put you into perspective what we had to go through as film fans. Luckily, 95% of what's on here is now available in England to buy. So it's a saving grace in a sense, because it makes people realise that we have got our own minds and we can make our own mind up on what we can and can't watch. So that's my 5 most talked about films that aren't talked about in England, and I think there should be more of an audience for things like that. Hope you like the little video. Come back soon, I'll do some more. Everyone have a good day. I'll see you soon. Thanks from Blue Ernie. Bye.